Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about object-oriented programming concepts. Start with the introduction. Object-oriented programming is computer programming model that organizes software design around data or objects rather than functions and logic. An object can be defined as a data field that has unique attributes and behavior. So simply we can tell us object-oriented programming is based on here we can go with one example. Let us consider class animal. Class is nothing but blueprint of an object. Objects are cat, dog, lion. Object is nothing but instance of a class. That means occurrence of a class. So each occurred object has its own identity, attribute, and behavior. So this diagram shows the. He can go with on another example. Let us consider class car. Under car class, we have objects Mercedes, BMW, Toyota. Here we can define data members as price, speed, wheel, mileage, model, color. All these data members are nothing but characteristics of that object. So each object or each car has its own price, speed, wheels, mileage, model, color, etc. So member functions are nothing but function which process on data. So by using break function, speed function, start, stop functions, we can process these member data. And one more example with the person example, class person, object, student, teacher. So a person can be a student or person can be a teacher, etc. Simply we drawn for this example purpose. Then data member, we can have each student or teacher both have a name, age, etc. Member functions we can process with learn, course, etc. So these are the introduction about what is class, what is object. Then next we can go with the characteristics of object-oriented programming. So you can see modularity, abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, dynamic binding, message passing. All these are the characteristics of object-oriented programming concepts. So simply what is modularity means? Module is a logically self-contained unit that can be tested and executed independently. Abstraction, it represents the essential features of an entity without including explanation or any background details about it. Encapsulation is nothing but wrapping of data and function into a single unit. Inheritance is the process by which objects one class acquires the properties of another class. Polymorphism is nothing but the ability for a message to be processed in more than one form. Dynamic binding is linking of a procedure call to the code to execute it when it is called. Message passing objects and invoking the function by the object is sending a message is known as message passing. So these are the characteristics of object oriented programming. Also, what is the benefit of this object oriented programming means? OOPS model the real world entity very well. So already so based on real world objects, real world entity, etc. So this inheritance feature eliminates the redundancy, that is repetition of code, and supports code reusability. Data hiding helps to build secured programs. Multiple instances can be created. Work can be divided easily. Oops can be easily upgraded from small to large systems. Complexity can be easily managed. Message passing concepts helps the objects to communicate and share data. So all the features or all the characteristics are benefit. Then where and all we can implement the scoops concepts means we can implement in databases, handling hypermedia and hypertext, artificial intelligence system and expert systems, decision support system and office automation systems, parallel programming and neural network, CAD, CAM, CIM system, simulation and modeling. So here and all we can implement object-oriented programming concepts. So next we'll discuss about the structure of object-oriented programming. So the structure or building blocks of object-oriented programming includes four things. First one is class, second one is object, third one is attributes, and fourth one is method. So here you can go with an example. Let us consider class human, objects name, attributes name, age, address, methods, verify, send mail. So this can be already discussed, right? Before slide itself, it discussed that these are the four building blocks for each object-oriented programming. What are those four blocks? Class, objects, attributes. Here we can go with a detailed explanation for that. Classes are user-defined data types. So this acts as the blueprint for the individual objects, attributes, and methods. Objects are instance of a class created with specifically defined data. Objects can correspond to real world objects or an abstract entity. Methods are nothing but functions that objects can perform. They define inside a class that describes the behavior of an object. Next, attributes represents the state of an object. State of an object or behavior of an object or characteristics that distinguish the thing. Then object-oriented programming. Just now we discussed about the benefits of this or advantages, reusability, flexibility, data and information handling, maintainability, object-oriented programming concepts. So what are the major thing we are discussing under object-oriented programming means object, class, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction. These are the basic concepts we discussed in object-oriented. Here we can go with object. What is object? The object is the real world entity having some state and behavior. So we already discussed about this object and class. So object is an instance of the class having the instance variable like state of the object and the methods. Class is a group of objects which have common which have some common properties. It is a template or blueprint. So here we can go with one example for the objects and classes. So class student. So student objects maybe each class students from one class may be objects. For example, John, Sobia, Lily. These are the objects to the student. Then each student have some states or behavior or properties. What are those states? For like name, age, color, sex, or gender. Then behavior, what each student can do, eating, drinking, running, learning, etc. So these states and behavior describes about data members and member functions. So here we can see class, student, objects. Each student is an object. Then each student have its own identity, attributes and methods. So based on that, here we have shown the example. So name John, age, color, fair. Then what the John can eat more, John can drink more, John can run fast. Likewise, each object have its own properties and behavior. Bundling of data and its method into a one class. So this is nothing but encapsulation. So what it does means groups data and methods into a single unit. This formation is like a capsule. That's why I explained with the diagram. Use what is the use of doing this encapsulation means we can protect data and enhance the code organization and makes code easier to maintain. Then how it works means limits access to data based on what the user needs. So more by using this encapsulation, we can benefit like more secure, reusable, and maintainable code. So how it can be implemented means in most OOPS language, encapsulation implemented through classes and objects only. In Python, It is achieved through access modifiers, properties, and getter and setter methods. So for this encapsulation, we can go with an example car. So the car body houses the engine, transmission, and brakes. You can interact with the car using its controls only. We no need to understand how they are functioning. So this is nothing but in. Then I can go with another one example with the OOPS or yeah, object OOPS concept. Let us consider class person, then data member, social security number. It's a private data which used to secure the or give security to the data. So a method called bank transaction is implemented. That function might access the social security number as a variable. So such a class would effectively encapsulates a person's personal information. So here the person's personal information is encapsulated with the person. That is the thing. Next one is abstraction. Abstraction in OOPS is used to hide unnecessary information and display only necessary information to the users interacting. It is essential to represent real world objects in a simplified manner for users to interact easily. So, what is the benefits of abstraction? Readability, efficiency, reusability. So, abstraction is present in almost all real life machines. Car is an example for the abstraction. So, we are using, you can start a car by turning the key or pressing the start button, but we don't need to, engine is getting started, all components, internal implementation, complex logic, completely hidden from the user. Then microwave functioning also an abstraction example. So we just here are using microwave for food heat and we are setting timer only, but we don't know how it is functioning internally. So this is a diagrammatic operation for the same abstraction, right? The main thing is how to drive a car only we know. How the car is moving on, how the engine is working, this information is hidden. The hidden information is nothing but abstraction. So simply abstraction is what how we can simply define is hiding information. Then some more examples for the abstraction. Dialing a number call. Some method internally runs and connects the call, but what is doing we don't know. Clicking on green button sends signaling to the calling person's mobile, but we are unaware of how it is doing. ATM machine. So we are doing withdraw cash, deposit cash, check balance, print bills, etc. It shows only the main things like getting inputs and giving the output. So ATM machine from ATM machine example, you can understand it showing only main thing. That means showing only important or most necessary things like inputs and outputs. Other detailed explanatory data is hidden. So that is the abstraction part. In Gmail, we are typing email and password and click submit button. It will show the compose inbox, outbox, and mails. But we don't know how it works internally, as like TV remote also. So all these examples clearly describes about abstraction. So abstraction, we could go with data abstraction and also process abstraction. Simply data abstraction is the hiding information, process abstraction hiding of process. So thank you.